Well, guys, it's happening. I picked up another frame yesterday from the farm and pretty much tore all the loose bits and pieces off that were left. I already cut this frame. There's the front section of it. Already lopped it off. Some people might be like, "Ooh, that's a 75, 76 Case 446 frame. Why are you cutting that up?" Well, the tank and stuff like that can be used in my buddy's tractor. And frankly, this frame is just, I mean, it's roached. It would need a lot to restore it. There's plenty of other frames out there that you can put the ID tag on, hence what someone had already done. So it already has no ID. There's a hole in the side of the dash tower, just the same as that tractor. As well, someone was going crazy with the welder back here, welding in this panel for God knows what reason. But anyhow, there's no hydraulics left in it. There's no rear end. It's basically just the bare frame. So it was a perfect candidate for me to cut up and use as I need. And honestly, this frame might end up going back out to the farm, so then that way anyone else can cut sections off of it as they need, instead of ruining another frame. So I have the front section cut off, and what I did is I cut it off roughly 4 inches from where that joint is there. So from here to the end is roughly 4 inches. I know the cuts aren't the straightest. I did it at 4 inches so that way I have more than enough room. And then this one, even though this is a nice original paint frame, it still was in need of a lot. And it too has a hole in the side of the dash that someone cut. But I cut this frame off right at this seam here. And it was, interestingly enough, I did some research last night and found some specs on a full-size Case farm tractor, like a 1370 or a 970, any of the X70 series farm tractors. So I measured, or I found the width of the rear wheels, and I used that to scale it down to the garden tractor size. So using these rear wheels and measuring it down, this tractor is 2.286 times smaller than the farm tractor. And then so I took the wheelbase of the farm tractor and divided it by that 2.286. And interestingly enough, it comes out to the wheelbase of the garden tractor, which is 46 inches. So Case apparently knew what they were doing when they were designing the tractors, that they literally just wanted a smaller version of the farm tractor. And the fact that the wheelbase is even scaled to the farm tractor. But the reason why I had to cut the frame. Wish I could cut the engine. No, I had to cut the frame because the engine is a slight bit too long. And could I have rammed it farther back into the dash? Yes. I would have had to run an auxiliary hydraulic oil tank. There probably would not be enough room for the hydraulic motor between the steering shaft and the engine. And I also have to have enough room for the brake pedal to move, because right here, that line that's drawn in the frame, that's where the back of, that's where the flush end of that pulley sits. And there is enough room between that pulley and the oil filter for a little bit more room for the pedal to move. But that's what we did there. So we're making progress. Now I just need to start fitting that front end up to this frame and get it welded in place. Now I'm just realizing that my welder is over there and the tractor's all the way over here. I don't have cables long enough, so I guess I'm gonna have to play musical tractors and musical junk and move some stuff around and get the tractor over there, so that way I can tack weld the frame on and go from there. But yeah, she's coming along slowly. And I'm also thinking about running a pan seat on it. I just thought that that'd be a little bit more appropriate. I picked that up from the farm yesterday too. Ironically, it's actually a Sears pan seat. And if I don't have any tractors that need an original Sears pan seat, that seat might end up working its way into this tractor. But with that being said, I also have rear wheels on the tractor now. I have a hydraulic oil cooler. And I have a non-bent front axle. Being that this front axle is bent, And yeah, I could have just cut the frame like what I did there and then add in a section into the frame. So basically to splice in a section, I'd have 2 weld joints. I'd have 2 joints in the frame. And well, 2 joints is weaker than 1, so that's why I opted just to lop the front of the frame off of that and weld this section onto here. So that way there's only 1 joint. And I will box it in, or at least gusset it from the inside, since it is just C-channel frame. It's actually, what it is it's 2 pieces of angle iron. The top flange, you can see the top and bottom flanges are the same size, but the top one sticks in a little bit further because it's the inside piece in the frame rail. But from the factory, they're just spot welded. Like, it's just welded about a 2-inch section there and a 2-inch section there, and that was it. I mean, there's nothing on the top there, and then they just welded it on the inside. So I think at the all said and done, at the end of the day, I should have a frame that's equally as strong, and hopefully it doesn't look too unproportional. But what I'm thinking about doing is, I was brainstorming last night. I was looking at these wheels, specifically what would be the inside of them. Whoops. That seat pan's not bolted down. I was looking at the insides of these rims and thinking, wow, those look a lot like what you'd see in a hay wagon. But hay wagons have wider rims than just 8 1/4 inch rims. So what I'm thinking about doing is seeing if I can find a set of 16 by 10s on a 6 by 6 bolt pattern, or 6 on 6 I should say, and having some wider rear wheels, because I have not seen anyone do that yet on a case tractor, having wider rear wheels. And I think that would look appropriate on a tractor like this, especially now that I'm extending the wheelbase more. I think a wider stance in the back would be a little more appropriate. I mean, the stance isn't too bad on these tractors as it is, but like I said, since it's being longer, to make it look more proportional, wider would help offset the fact that the frame is being stretched. But with that being said, enough rambling, and I'm going to get to mocking some stuff up here.